I don't appreciate getting ghosted, and I guess I've been ghosting you guys for a bit, and I apologize for that, but I'm back. Showing up is more than half the battle, as some people would say. I'll fill you guys in what's going on. We got a whole big show. Got a list of things that we're going to be talking about today. 2024 is right around the corner. It is the holiday season. Whole bunch of stuff to be going on around here. So let's get right into this episode, and I'm really excited to be back. Another great intro. Love coming into this pod with music, man. I think it brings another element of surprise. It brings a little element of fun. I always like to listen to music. I was listening to pump up songs before the pod, and there's something about that, getting into the zone. It really does put you in that mode. So what's been going on? I've been filling you guys in kind of briefly what's been going on. I'll just give you guys the long story. So basically, I completed my pre-apprenticeship program. That was through Tulalip Vocational Training Center. Basically a program that teaches you construction and goes through the overview of all the kind of stuff that you can learn. That's carpentry, electrician, plumbing, cement masons, ironworking, finish work, landscaping, a whole bunch of stuff like that, and I got to learn a whole bunch of cool stuff. I got to go in the class with all these really cool people. Whole bunch of Tulalips. Actually, we had a Tuscarora in there too. Shout out to Tosh, who was there. Lots of people. Great time. I really, really enjoyed everything about the class. I think the instructors were really, really informative and really helpful. Because I thought, when I went to college, and I thought like, oh, this is the route I'm obviously taking. I got to take this one. And Tara helped me with that and showed that, sometimes it's not. And I obviously knew I could always change, but it definitely felt good that there's accessibility into something like this, into the trades, and definitely thinking about it for sure. So I got to get my plumbing stuff all. That's the one I picked. I picked plumbing because, everyone's got toilets. I know the basics about carpentry, but I don't really know the basics about plumbing. Like, I know how to fix a P-trap, probably and how to put on a toilet, but like anything past that, a little confusing. But we're here, and I'm glad to be here. We're back with the pod. I've also, to just, I don't like to be like telling you guys what been going on, but there's been, work just gets busy. So I work all over the place. I work many places. But one of the things I've been really working on is that I was working on my PhD application to the University of Washington, and all in the meantime while doing tarot. And I think writing that and doing that at the same time, maintaining relationships, and I was also sports commentating for the local res team here, Tulalip Heritage Hawks. I felt like I was kind of going in like this. I felt like a hamster in a hamster wheel, dude. Just nonstop, just going and going and going. And soon enough, you get tired. And I got tired, dude. I got worn out. And the last thing I think I wanted to do was get on here and express the exhaustion. Because everyone is exhausted. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world. And the last thing someone needs is someone complaining. So what I could leave you guys is, it's okay to get burnout. It's okay to, take a pause on something for a second and hone in on something. I think that's been what I've been doing this past couple months is, kind of just honing in on one thing, doing my very best, and knowing I can, pause the other thing and come back to it is always nice. Because that's the thing about the pod is like, I have these strict deadlines that I want to reach. I want to post every day. I want to have an episode out every week, and that keeps me motivated. But there comes times when you just have to kind of press the gas pedal on a different type of car or a different type of thing, and you just got to go with it. And that was me with the tarot thing and the PhD thing, and I was just kind of going for it. And then, the holidays came in, and then you got to, when you're in a relationship, you got to have time for the other person. You got to do that well. And then you have family, and then things just kind of quickly pile on. And then you have all of a sudden your whole house is dirty and you got to do laundry. That kind of stuff happens. So I've been definitely busy with that. And, but I've been seeing a lot of funny stuff in the meantime, dude. I really think there could be a class on the people who were in this tarot class. We had every version of person I think you could think of in there. If I were to ever get like $1 million or something, or win the lottery, I think I would like cast that show. I think it would be good television. But I got some questions here on the paper that I wanted to read off to you guys. And one of the main things is, I kind of just briefly went over it, is, hey, Dom, I listened to your previous episode. This is actually from Anonymous. You guys can always send me questions from 425-320-3641, or just message me on the pod on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, or whatever. But this person just randomly submitted it. I don't even have their phone number. Said, hey, Dom, what got you interested in doing tarot, given that you went to college, and why plumbing? ? With a smiley face. Well, I think, the tarot thing was very, I've always kind of wanted to be hands-on and kind of know how to do things. The whole college route thing, like, you could do college and, fix what you want to do anytime. Just because you go to college doesn't mean you can, that's the only thing you're going to be able to do. But I learned that plumbing's super important, and I learned they make a pretty good wage. And whoever made, like, the statement that plumbers don't make good money, or people in the trade, it's not worth it, dude. I don't know. You get taken care of pretty well. And I don't know where I heard that, because, growing up my whole life, I kind of figured that blue-collar guys get paid really well. I mean, I remember when I would go to my buddy's house, his dad was an electrician. Huge house. Huge amount of land. How often are you going to somebody's house, like, and being just, damn, what's he do for work? That's what he does? I got to do that. I remember as a kid knowing, like, dang, electricians make good money. And then you never really learn about it. And I'm not here to say, either side is the better side, like, white collar or blue collar, because I've kind of had the luxury of seeing both. Obviously, white collar a little bit more, but growing up on the res, been kind of seeing blue collar work my whole life, and that's where I started. Actually, my first job was building maintenance, and that was a job where we went around the res and we fixed things, whether it be someone's AC unit. We took out beds, from hotels. We helped elders set up things in their house, refrigerator installations, like, really, like, service call type work. And then my next job was working in a Boom City stand, smushing boxes, running food, and selling eventually. And then my next job was actually being a laborer for a construction site, where we renovated a old jailhouse, our new courthouse and cop shop. And then my next job, I crabbing, of course, in between those things, and then, helping people out with their lawn and putting cement things down. So I was kind of doing blue collar work a little bit more, because it was a little bit more accessible to me when I was younger. Then I grew up, and then I went to college, and I had, like, these little, like, assistant jobs. I interned, did the whole podcast thing, and then did this communication job where I'm writing up a whole bunch of stuff and posting on social media. I thought that's the route I really wanted to go. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. But the whole social media thing for me was, I thought of it as if, and this isn't against anyone who likes to do it, because there's some people who are really talented and you need it, and it helps businesses big time. But I think I did it as a way to get my foot in the door for certain things, and, like, to know people. And eventually I kind of pigeonholed myself into this position where I was just known as that social guy, and the social media guy, and I didn't want to do that forever. So I kind of just said, no, I don't really want to do the social media thing anymore. And I kind of just went into, like, this different mode. And then I went to Nordstrom I'm obviously missing some jobs in between, little jobs here and there, but then I got my first like official job back home, which was a retail job at Nordstrom. I worked there for like 2 months, if that, and then decided to quit, and now worked at the radio, still working there. And that's nice because, it helps get natives on the radio, and it helps out and does that type of thing. And then, I edited for people's podcasts and some really cool people, and went on to that route. And then I started a communication business, and then did some work at some talks and whatever. And then now I have an opportunity to possibly work at a school. There's plumbing, and then commentating, sports commentating, window washing, crabbing. There's a whole bunch of things that are like interesting to me. And, I know I've made fun of those people who go in front of people and say, "I bet this ain't about me." But I really do think that what I'm trying to mean by me saying all this is saying that you can do anything you want to do, and just because you did one job doesn't mean it's going to define all your other jobs. Because if you listen to all those jobs I just listed, yeah, some of them relate to one of another by somehow, but they're all different. And it took doing all those jobs to figure out what I wanted to do. You're not going to figure it out the first thing you do. And this is, mainly for my younger audience. If you're older and you're, whatever you're doing in your career, feel free to skip ahead. But I just think it's important for people to know that if you don't know what you're going to do and you don't have that figured out yet, and it's okay. Just work a couple jobs here and there. Doesn't mean it's going to be permanent. A lot of people like to beat themselves up for doing something like, oh, I work at this school, I work at this retail thing, I work at this junkyard, and I don't want to be here forever. It's like, hey man, just be there until you don't have to be there no more. Save up some money, a couple months worth of living, then apply places, and you'll find somewhere. I have a buddy who was talking to me about doesn't know what he wants to do next. And I was telling him, hey man, let's do this together, and man, you can join in. And then he was kind of like, yeah, like just knowing you have someone in your corner is a big help too. And I'm a big advocate for that. So you guys ever need someone in your corner, need a little I don't know, push up or something, you got me. Remember, you guys can always do that. So I also went ahead and wrote down my goals for the year. One of my things is I want to travel to at least one of these locations. That's Costa Rica, Japan, Hawaii, Metlakatla, Alaska, or Vancouver Island. Vancouver Island is where I probably will end up going, because that is the closest, and also that's where Canoe Journey will be for a house it. So I think that one will be the one that I definitely go to. The other four are like, I really hope they work out. Like I said, if you live in Met, hit me up. My buddy Jesse was telling me he knows some people out there too. But yeah, for the pod, I got some other cool stuff coming. I want to get some new equipment. I want to deck out the new background. Actually, I'm not going to tell you guys what I'm going to do, but it's going to look cool. And then, stay consistent, and that's something I've been definitely trying to do better at. I've been definitely trying to see what I can do to get to the next part of life. I've been in this one place for a while, not necessarily house, but more so like where I'm at. And I think there's a sense of comfortableness, but I want to get to that next point. And whether that's financially or mentally, physically, I definitely want to get some land. That's the next thing. But yeah, man, there's been a whole bunch of stuff I've been doing, and I've been really pumped to be back. What has everybody else been doing? Fill me in what you've been doing. 425-320-3641. To be honest with you guys, I've recorded like 2 episodes since we left. I actually had my girlfriend on here. She actually came on, and we're a little unsure if it's going to come out or not. And then I actually did one before that, which was just a solo episode, and I didn't post that either. And I think that's where I've been kind of stuck creatively, because I didn't know what I wanted to post. In the time we're in now, like a lot of people are kind of going through really hardships all over the world, and I didn't know what to post. And I just feel like, when you're on TikTok or you're on social media, how many times are you watching your phone and you're just mindlessly scrolling? And part of me, this is what I've been going through, is that like part of me didn't want to be that pointless media that you're just looking at scrolling. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, it all needs to be perfect in it. Everyone has to be ultra captivated. I'm not saying that either. I'm saying like I wanted it to actually like be funny or have like a message to it, because if it didn't, it's just like a pointless TikTok video. And like then I get like a pointless like, because you're like, oh, there's Dom, you like it, and it's like it doesn't even feel real. I don't even know if I'm making sense anymore. Maybe I'm going crazy. But yeah, that's really been my main struggle, is like creatively making something that can resonate. And maybe this episode is kind of like boring, but that's definitely been something I've been thinking about. How can I make this content more engaging and actually enjoyable to watch? And I think that's like the big part of doing the clips, is that somebody can always like listen and just listen to 30 seconds to a minute. So I think that's a really important part of the show. But I also think it's pretty important to have a good time. That's basically what DJP is all about. It's about me being me and having a good time and making people laugh. So I got my my vest on, my headband going. My Nana made this, and I'm feeling pretty BA in it. Badass. I feel like Rex Kwon Do a little bit. Feel like feel a little bit Cobra Kai-ish in it too. Little Cobra Kai. Res Kai it up, It's the new show, new thing. I know my guy Silas and Jared, they're probably big. If I were ever to do like a Res Kai show or something, those guys would be like main characters. I might even be like the director. But yeah, those guys, they're funny, man. Go check out them. Always want to support those guys. But what else has been going on? I got some notes in here on the computer. I've been watching football as much as anybody else, and when you're watching football, people are always like, oh, what do you think the score is going to be? There's always that one guy that's just 24-17. It's like, how often is 24-17 ever really scored? Like, I feel like everybody always says 24-17, but I feel like that's never the score. Let's see. I want to see what the most common score is in football. Most common scored points in NFL. Here we go. It is 20-17. So next time somebody asks you, it is 2017 and then followed by 27-24. So 24-17 is not a common number to pick. So 2017 is the most common one to learn or to bet on, according to, let's see the source, Pro Football Network. I probably got to give them that. It's pretty accurate. But you'll be watching football too. The guy's saying, 24-17, 24-17 all game. And then you're sitting there watching, and I'll be honest, I was in 4 fantasy team leagues this year. Didn't make playoffs in one of them. One of them I sniffed the playoffs. I barely made it, and kind of won out and almost got there, and then lost because I didn't have the head-to-head record. That was a bummer. And, I pride myself on a guy who kind of knows what he's talking about in sports, and then to not even make any playoffs in any fantasy league, it's starting to make me feel like maybe I don't understand fantasy football anymore. And I remember when I first started, I was like all in. Now I'm like, I'm in, but not all in, Like, I was waking up at 5:30, no problem, to get these waivers. Now I wake up at 7 and I pick up the scraps, I'm just not as like tuned in as I used to be. But anyway, when you're sitting there, you're watching this guy like for instance, I was playing Deebo Samuel the day both games he played the Seahawks. And I was just like, man, I can't stand this guy. And then like NFL Network or the network goes, oh, Deebo Samuel was at the cancer hospital for kids, helping him out, being there, shows up early, took pictures with the fan, just really makes you feel like, then you're the dick, you know? Does that ever happen to anyone else, or is that just me? But that's always something that turns me. But you know, being in class with a bunch of Tulalips, you know, has its perks. You know, I got to joke around and say a whole bunch of stuff that's going on in Tulalip with fellow tribal members. And this is me reverting back to tarot now. But I think a funny thing that has always popped in my head, you know, being from Tulalip and oftenly staying at the Tulalip Resort Casino, is, you know, people throw their birthday parties, they have parties there, they, you know, have get-togethers there, you go up to the room, and there's always that part of the night where somebody's just like, man, when I build my house, I want this exact bathroom. And it's just it's just a certain part of the night. You know, when you get to that certain part of the night and that your bro puts his arms around you, says, I love you, bro. You know, it's almost as pivotal as that moment. It's like, dang, when I make a house, I want this exact layout, you know? I feel like it happens every time I go. I do it. You know, it's like 10:32 p.m. You start going, you know, if I don't really need much. If I just had this layout, it's really, you know, bed here, rolling window. You know, the hardest part, probably the plumbing and the sink, but it's not, I could live in here, you know, 4-star resort. Of course you could. I always just think that's funny. You know, the resort has its definite perks, and I feel like, you know, I'm coming out a lot of people here, coming out a lot of cousins, coming out a lot of friends here. But there's also the part of the night where it's just, you know, those pictures in the NFL defense when they get a pick six and they all run into the end zone and they all like do the pose up and they do this, you know? I feel like us Tulalips just run in the resort bathroom and take that picture in that big old mirror. Everyone gathers up, takes the big old cheesing photo. Oh, I think that's one of the funniest things, man. I've been part of them, you know, like buddies have a birthday party. You go up there, hey, what's up, you know? Oh, I'm going to get some flack for this. I know I am. And I think that's the funny part. And the thing is about Tulalip, you know, you gotta use the card to go up, and someone's gotta be the designated elevator picker-upper, you know. I've definitely been that guy. You know, somebody's had like a birthday party and they're like, it's their birthday. You don't want to make them go downstairs and pick up their friends. So they're like, can you go pick them up? And you got to go down there into the lobby and let them back up. You know, so some people have like DDs. I'm like the designated friend that goes and gets your other friends in the elevator. That's me. You know, that's just the Tulalip way, I guess, and the way it was built. But yeah, man, there's been a lot of stuff been going on. I've been really excited to be back, and I know I've probably said that a couple times already, but that's just where I'm at. You know, I've been seeing a lot of people have been drinking a lot of liquid IVs, those hydration things, and people will do anything but just actually drink water at this point. You know, you got a headache, and you're like, oh man, I'm just gonna have one of those liquid hydrogen things, or some Gatorade. I'm like, dude, if you just had water, you'd feel so much better. You know, and I'm not a water guy. I'm not one of those guys who's like, I only drink water. I'm not one of those guys. I drink sparkling water. You know, I like, you dude. So I don't drink, but you know, I do really enjoy margaritas. And what I do is, you know, I obviously say no alcohol with them. There's something about those, dude. I want to go to Mexico purely because I want to have the food there. And there's no shame in that. You know, there's obviously some culture there, but I think Mexican cuisine is my favorite food other than, you know, our foods here, like our fish and stuff. Because I honestly believe that the Pacific Northwest has the best seafood in the country, and if not in the world. You know, Alaska, Washington, Oregon, California, those waters, man, the fish that are there compare with any fish in the entire world. I think. And so, but yeah, I mean, going there would be really cool. I want to have a margarita from there. I want to also have a mango from like Costa Rica or something. That's if the world is still here. You know, like I'm kind of one of those guys too. Like I've been thinking about prepping a little bit. I'm not much of a prepper, but you know, you got to be prepared for things. I was watching The Purge. Dude, if we had The Purge, man, that would be a sick world to be in. You know, like I know the movie talks about the day, the purge, right? The day of the purge, like the night and like all the people being crazy. But imagine like every other day. It's like, I almost feel like the purge is like the easier day because it's one night and you got to just survive the night. The other 364 days is like, is my house going to like burn down? Am I going to be in the right place? And like, if I cut someone off, are they just going to wait to come find me? Because it's just like free game after that. I don't know, man. I was definitely thinking about that the other day. But yeah, if you know, I had a good time. But yeah, that was it. You know, that's all I really had for you guys. You know, I'm really excited to be back and record, and I'm glad we graduated. That was a great graduation. We got hooked up, man. If you guys are ever considering anything pre-apprenticeship or any construction stuff, or even thinking about being handy around the house, just reach out to me, and I could refer you to the people and the pre-apprentice. You could come from anywhere in the country. They really want to help natives get into it. And if you're not native, that's fine too. But yeah, man, it's a really great program. I could literally hook you up with the number and an email, and you could be right in. I think if you're in the Tulalip area, Marysville area, and you aren't doing nothing for 3 months, say like you're like, whatever, you know, I could afford to go here for 3 months and do it every day. I think it's worth it. The certifications you get first aid, CPR, flaggers, HAZWOP, lift training. So that's like the big, huge equipment things. You get certified for all those. And, you know, when you go into a construction site and you have those, you're almost hired on the spot. So if you're looking for job security and want something, definitely check out Taro, man. If you ever have any questions, just hit me up and I'll refer you to the right people. But yeah, if you're interested in carpentry, electrician, plumbing, finished work, building a little tiny home, building a wood project or something, learning how to use saws, hit me up and I can refer you to the right people, man. Especially if you live in this Marysville area and you're young, say you're right out of high school, I think that's the perfect time to go. And if you're not, say you're 45 and you're changing careers and you want to get into the thing, you could do that too. But if you're interested, all I ask you to say, hey man, Dom sent me and he said it was a good time. That's all, you know. Even if you say that in your head, you know what? I'm not going to name names, but I remember telling somebody, hey, we were both unsure about doing it. And I said, hey, why don't you just take one day off work and do it? We'll do it together. And if you don't like it at the end of the week, you don't have to do it. And, you know, the first week, I'll be honest, is a little slow. You got to do some paperwork. But after that first week, man, you start actually using a saw and you start getting to it and you start remembering stuff. Something special about it. So it's always good to provide too. You know, someone needs help with something. You know how to cut something. One of my buddies was telling me he needs a bathroom vanity. I can make that up for him now. And I, you know, probably would have been able to before, but I would have had to watch videos and, you know, but now I have a little bit more confidence behind the power tools. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll catch you guys next week. Hoi, happy holidays.